Okay, adding and subtracting complex numbers. This is exactly as easy as you would hope it would be. So suppose I have one complex number and calling it z1. It has the real component of 3 and an imaginary component of 2. And then we have a second complex number z2 that has these two real and imaginary parts. If I want to add z1 plus z2, if I'm adding these two numbers, it really is as simple as taking these and adding them like so. Okay, now I'm doing this with parentheses. In a later unit, we'll talk about multiplying and dividing complex numbers. Or I'm sorry, a different way of doing this. We're going to want these parentheses here when we do this. Okay, because when we add and subtract, and when we multiply and divide, this second number could get affected by what we're doing here. Right now, anytime we substitute something in, we want to put parentheses, and then we want to check to make sure there's nothing in any of these three places. Right? There's nothing in front. There's nothing behind. There's nothing as an exponent. So I don't need those parentheses. Here, same thing. We want to check the front. This is a positive one. There's no exponent and there's nothing behind it. So I don't need those parentheses. I can drop them and we end up here. And then when we add complex numbers, it's just like combining like terms. 3 plus 4 is 7. 2i minus 6i is negative 4i. So the sum of two complex numbers will be another complex number that we would call, in this case, 7 minus 4i. Let's keep going. Suppose I want to subtract these two numbers, right? z1 minus z2. I would still do 3 plus 2i in the first place, minus 4 minus 6i. Now you realize how important these parentheses are when we do this subtraction, right? Because anytime we're subtracting something that's in parentheses, right? This is, I want to use the term binomial. It's not a binomial, right? It's technically one number, but it's written in two parts. And when we subtract, we have to subtract both of those parts. So these parentheses are really important because they remind us that we have to subtract both of the numbers that are in this quantity here. So now when I do this subtraction, I end up with 3 minus 4, which is negative 1, and positive 2i plus 6i, which is positive 8i. So those parentheses are really important when we're subtracting. Not so much when we're adding, we didn't really need them, right? But when we're subtracting complex numbers, we need to have parentheses around that second part. Okay.